today with Jody Goff Perreault. Is that right?
You got it right.
And we're here to celebrate something a little bit different. In the past, is generally we have a person who comes in as a legend, and there's definitely no problem that Jody isn't legendary in her own rights. But the Goff family, Lester, Evelyn, Rocky, they're the drag strip in the sky, and they should be here. They would all be members of this. They could be here. So we decided to make our latest Arizona drag racing legend, the Goff family. Hi, Jody.
Hello.
What do you think about being here?
It's awesome. Thank you so much.
Where were you born?
Phoenix, Arizona, Maryville Hospital.
Okay. What high school did you go to?
Maryville.
You were Panther?
Panther.
Woo. Watch out. So, you were, your dad, we're gonna start off with your dad, and your mom, because they're like the parents to a lot of kids. I have fortunately had the opportunity of running a speed shop in Maryville for a few years, and all these kids would come in and say, we're over at Lester's house, he's doing this and doing that. Yeah, Lester Goff was quite the guy and had a long, happy career of drag racing in Arizona and around the country. But he was, from early days of Beeline, Phoenix Dragway, I just don't remember not seeing him at a racetrack. What was your first memory going to the races with your dad?
I remember going to Beeline, and I think I had my hands over the hood of the truck as he was working on the tow truck, and he slammed my hands in the hood. So that's one of my first memories I remember.
Well, that would probably leave a mark, right?
Yeah.
In your brain as well.
Yeah.
But what was your first, when you moved along, realized you're going to drag racing? Because you basically grew up at drag strips.
Yes.
So, what was your feeling when you finally got to drive your own? When you started driving, what was your first car?
My first car was the '67 Camaro that I still have.
Okay.
And I remember.
Is that your high school car?
Huh?
So is that your car for high school?
No, that was Tom Shambaugh's car.
So your first car you drove?
First car I drove.
Yeah. What did you drive in high school?
I had a '77 Camaro in high school. The first car I raced was my dad's Lincoln when I was 14.
The first car you drove in high school? Did you ever go out and street racing?
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay. Did you win any money?
No.
So
No, I didn't win any money.
Did your car have a name?
I don't remember what the name of it was. That was a long time
Okay.
ago.
How did that come about? How did that car come about?
I just remember my dad bought me a Duster for my first car, and I didn't want that Duster, so I was like, I'm buying a Camaro. I don't really care what year it is, I want a Camaro.
So where did you work?
My first job was Phoenix Lettering. I worked with Wendy Weatherman. She got me a job at Phoenix Lettering.
That was exciting.
Yeah.
So what did you do there?
We did high school letter jackets and a lot of high school banners. It was a fun job. I loved it. Plus, when you get to work with your best friend, it was awesome.
Partner in crime.
Partner in crime.
There you go. So move forward. You had the '77 Camaro. You went out. People knew who you were, and definitely. Your dad ever get any reports of your actions? Come back to your mom or your dad?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It wouldn't have mattered if it's so.
What did your mom think of this?
Oh, she was a street rodder. She would street race, and Dad would just kind of shake his head.
How did your mom and dad meet?
They met in Tolleson, and they actually got married at the old Tolleson Fire Department.
That's a long time ago.
In 1959.
So tell me about your dad had a nickname in the early days, Geronimo or Cherokee or something like that?
Yeah, I don't know how that came about. That's when he worked.
What was it?
I'm not sure. I don't know how that came about. When he worked at Eb Meekum and he won that big race in that Rambler.
Right.
They put Lester Geronimo Goff. I don't know that story.
I never heard it until great thing about the internet, it was on the internet, so it's got to be true. Right? Okay.
Yeah, but it never continued. So.
Yeah, well, maybe he said.
Yeah,
no.
I think so.
Yeah. Oh, so your dad was, we know all about you. Tell me about your mom.
My mom,
Evelyn.
She was an awesome, beautiful lady. She loved music. She put up with all of his shenanigans, Rocky shenanigans, and she was there for you all the time. and she loved her cars herself. You didn't mess with her 73 Camaro.
She was a mom to a lot of other kids as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
all of Rocky's friends, they spend the night, we fed them all. She was just that kind of lady. You're not going home hungry.
Very legendary in herself. That she put up with the rest of you. She is your sometimes your partner in crime.
Mm-hmm.
That's another deal, but that would be like the R-rated version of an interview. We're not going to do this. I don't want to hear that. Okay. So, and then there's the world famous Rocky Goff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who was older, you or Rocky?
Rocky was 7 years older.
Okay, and so he was big bro.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember his first car? His first car he drove to school.
Oh, I don't remember what first car he drove to school, but his first race car was that 68 Camaro.
Uh-huh.
But he had so many cars, I don't remember.
Okay, so you remember all the race cars, which is great.
Uh-huh.
And your dad had a few of them over the years. Name some of the cars, and what were your favorites that he had that you can recall?
One of my favorites was the yellow Vega that had out of sight on it. I love that car. It launched good. And then he had a little blue Vega called Little Too Much. I kind of been thinking about putting that name on my 67. I thought that might go good. And then had the blue Danny Lovett Vega. And of course, I have to say my favorite is the 65 wagon. And then he had that 64 four-door. And I remember one big race he won. He beat both Mitchell brothers. That was kind of like a big deal because they were big winners back in the day. And being on the winner circle, and that was one of my great times.
So the 65 wagon, which is you and your husband restored it and won some nice awards at the Good Guys with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a beautiful car, but it has some history. You know who all owned that before your dad did?
Yeah, Mike Bailey is the one that turned it into a race car. And I found out, I think it was Ed Smith is the one who did all the work. And it went to Dave Irwin, Sam Hughes, and then my dad bought it in 1980.
It was a great car. I can remember Mike Bailey racing it at Beeline.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of history to that. Your family had some Camaros too. Did your dad ever have a Camaro to race, or did he race your car?
Yeah, he raced mine. I don't think he had any other Camaros. They mostly Vegas, and I'm not sure what he had back in the late 50s, early 60s.
What did your dad do for a living?
He was a diesel mechanic.
Turn some wrenches.
Mm-hmm.
Probably really good at it too. The successes in life.
Yep.
You guys had some unique stuff. You had a ramp truck to haul the cars the races with.
Mm-hmm.
Right, those were so cool back in the day. Your dad was well known because your dad smoked,
Mm-hmm.
and he'd be going down there, he'd pull up the starting line and have a cigarette in his lips and have an ash hanging off, and no matter what, the ash was still on all the way down the track. We don't know how they stayed on, but
Yeah, I'm not sure.
nobody knows for sure I did it, but he won his fair share of races. Through my career and all my work career and stuff, there was a period of time where I was really kind of busy with my work, and I didn't have a lot of chance to go to races. And the winter race at the national event at Firebird, I missed for about 6 years. So always the same weekend I'd be back in New Jersey for one of my customers' dealer shows, and I decided one year I'm not going to go, and I went out there. So I hadn't been out in a long time. The first person to walk up to me was your dad, and it made me feel good. And told me about still had a Performance Plus shirt, and you still had this, and I knew that it just made me feel welcome, like nothing, like I hadn't missed anything, because he was so, he was very happy to visit and see with me and be with me, and I remember that the day. I remember him getting an award at Phoenix Dragon one time. He went in and got some kind of big award he was out there for. Was it the Hall of Fame award, or what was it?
I think that was in 2008, the Pioneer Award.
Pioneer Award. Yeah, so, Lester got a lot of kids to the racetrack and taught a lot of kids things, and probably can't be responsible for the street racing, but that was probably the worst thing anybody did that he put up with.
Uh-huh.
And he was a great man. You went to what's your first time at the drag strip when you actually got a chance to race? Do you remember excitement before it was going to happen? Did you know it was going to happen? Next week it's your turn to race, or did it just happen?
It just happened. I was 14 when I started in Dad's Lincoln. Rocky would drive it out, and the first time I think my foot was shaking so bad I could barely keep the brake on. But I'm so small and that car was so big, just trying to shut the door was,
It's a long door.
a long door. But I won like 5 races in that thing when I was 14. It ran 1880s, 1883, very consistent.
And you made everybody mad because this kid came out and
Yep.
was cleaning their clocks, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about the Camaro that came from Tom Shambaugh.
I started racing the Camaro. I remember the first time, I think I was out at the old Phoenix Dragway. And then I quit racing for a few years. My first husband wasn't real happy with me racing. So that's one of the biggest regrets is I quit racing for quite a while. And then I decided to get back into it years later.
So obviously you came back racing, so that means that you gave him his walking papers and
Yeah,
said,
he
I
got
want to go
walking
racing,
papers.
it's in my blood.
Uh-huh.
Your brother Rocky, he won some races. He wasn't your dad, he was your brother.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a very good driver as well. What do you remember the most about him? Like his biggest moment racing, what was it, like if he was here today, if he was here with us today, and we brought up an event that he won or did some, what would bring the biggest smile to his face?
There was one, he won like 12 races in a row back in the day when Mike Donnelly owned the track, and nobody wanted to pull up behind him. And Mike Donnelly put like a $200 bounty on his head. Anybody that can beat Rocky Goff, you get $200. So that was pretty
Somebody
awesome.
finally beat him.
Somebody finally beat him.
You remember who it was?
I don't remember who it was.
But they got the $200.
They got the $200.
That's pretty good, yeah. Mike Donnelly was a pretty good promoter of the track
Uh-huh.
and made it look a whole lot nicer and made it more of a family place to go to and such. Definitely some great people. Tell me about your husband.
My husband Mike,
Yes.
he's amazing. He's been a car guy all his life. We knew each other for 10 years, but we're both previously married. And after my dad passed, he came to the funeral and realized I was single, and that was it. We've
Now,
been-
see, if I'm ever single, that'd be, go to funerals. No, he's an absolute great guy.
He is.
And he works as a service writer
Uh-huh.
at,
Sanderson Ford.
so if you have a Ford or any car, but a Ford,
Mhm.
and I've seen him in action. You want somebody to take great care of you, and you get service in the dealership, go see Mike.
Yep.
He's the guy. And he'll take as good care of you that anybody will. Just a great gentleman. What's the biggest race you won?
The biggest race I won was in 2008. I think it was the 1320 Standard. I won non-electronics, and was it Nina Bell and her, was it a Mopar? She won electronics, so that was really cool that 2 ladies won that race. And I got an American flag that they flew over, I think it was Afghanistan, and it got mailed back to me. So that's very precious to me.
That's super cool.
Mm-hmm.
If we talk about your family again, your brother Rocky, he had some rough roads and some demons in his life, but overall was a great guy and is deeply missed by a lot of people. I know you for sure, but
Yes.
a lot of people miss Rocky. What if he was alive today? What would be most fascinating him? That if you could see, you ever look at someone and say, "Well, Rocky'd like that."
Anything Dallas cowboy. I mean, he was a diehard cowboy fan. He wore that hat all the time. He kind of got out of cars for a little while. I'm not really sure what happened there, but and his dog. He loved his dog.
He's a happy guy.
Yeah.
Well, we certainly miss him. About your mom, what stands out? Great memory about your mom.
Oh,
Did she ever race?
she raced one time. She took
Okay.
her 73 Camaro down the strip once. I found the ET slip and it says Mrs. Goff. Didn't even have a car number, just Mrs. Goff. Other than that, she took me to concerts when I was 10 years old. She's like the best mom.
What concert do you remember?
Alice Cooper was my first concert in 1970.
Your mom liked Alice Cooper too?
She liked everybody. Any rock and roll.
She's a rocker.
Mm-hmm.
How about your dad? What did he listen to?
He used to listen to his old 50s.
That's great. So your dad was somewhat of an innovator. Your dad could put parts together that other people wouldn't use at times because out of necessity, and have a lot of success. What would he most enjoy today? What if he was racing? What would be? If your dad was racing today, what would he be driving?
He'd be driving the 65 wagon. That was his favorite car.
Still be going up and down the track in that.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. So, what do you like most about drag racing?
I've always loved the sound of the cars, the burnout, the people that you meet. Maybe because I was born into it, and we always had such fun family times, great friends, people helping each other. That's just, how you did it. And I think how you going forward, how it should still do.
When was the last time you were down a drag strip?
Last time I raced was November 2019. I took the 67 out.
What's preventing you from doing it again?
Well, we got the wagon in 2020 and COVID hit. So
Will we see it at the racetrack soon?
yes.
Good.
Oh, yes.
How about, will you be bringing, these videos are meant to last forever, but we're filming this in early 2025, and you have to come this year's Arizona Drag Racers reunion at Radford Racing School at Firebird Raceway. Will you have the car there on display for people to see?
Yeah, we'll have the wagon there.
Okay, April 19th, so if you're seeing this before April 19th, 2025, come out and join us, okay,
Yeah.
you can see the car. It was basically down to the ground restoration, everything came apart, went back together.
Yes.
It's a beautiful, beautiful ride. And,
Thank you.
And it's worth seeing, and for the people that remember the car, it'll bring back a lot of memories. So, Jody, what do you look forward to? What are you looking forward to doing next?
Just keep living life and enjoying our cars. We just got a new house. We actually call it a new garage. It has a house attached.
It's got, I saw the big RV garage.
Yeah.
Great. My friend of mine would call that the Garage Mahal.
Oh, okay, I like that.
Yeah, it's definitely big. I'm very envious of you.
I like that.
Congratulations. And the great thing about Facebook is, we get to share, and it's a beautiful looking home, and it's very nice that you guys can live in such a beautiful place.
Thank you.
Jody, your family is legendary. Your mom, your dad were just great people to me. Rocky, great guy. You're a great gal. I remember when you were just still, I remember those days when before you started driving, but you're the same age. No, I'm kidding you, but Jody, we're really excited to have the Goff family as a member of the Arizona Drag Racing Legend family, and we really appreciate you being here with us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.